As I interact with Fortune 500 executives or Fortune 1000 executives, I often ask them to think about supplier diversity as a global phenomenon and as a billion-dollar function. I recognize that within earshot of my voice, there might be a number of individuals who work among the Fortune 1000. This message is not just for you, but really for all of us as we think about what we could be doing to address some of the imbalances that I just mentioned or made reference to on the prior slide. Humantelligence happens to be certified as a minority business enterprise, or MBE, which means that it typically interfaces very regularly with the supplier diversity function among the Fortune 1000. As we think about some of those imbalances, supplier diversity could be very, very important, and is a very, very important function within the Fortune 500. What is supplier diversity? Supplier diversity is a corporate function typically focused on addressing and advocating for business relationships between the corporate parent and suppliers or supply chain partners that are owned in whole or in part by groups that historically have been disenfranchised. It could be a woman business enterprise or minority business enterprise, veteran disabled enterprises. Typically among the Fortune 1000, it represents a function that advocates for and looks for compelling ways to engage in these relationships. Critically important in the environment that we're in. I can't overstate it. To the extent that the corporates want to have an impact, supplier diversity is probably one of the first places to start. And as I interact with Fortune 500 executives or Fortune 1000 executives, I often ask them to think about supplier diversity as a global phenomenon and as a billion-dollar function, not as a function typically dedicated to working on small-scale projects. In order to tackle the challenges that we face, and the size of those challenges are significant, the size of the engagement is going to have to be significant as well. The second thing that I point out is that insofar as we're looking for solutions, those solutions have to be highly profitable for everyone, whether they're quote unquote diverse or not, right? And if working together, we can find transactions or business platforms, investment opportunities, supply chain solutions that benefit a wide swath of individuals and entities, all the better. And then the last thing that I would point out, and certainly this is something that Humantelligence is very dedicated to, especially as we engage with our multinational clients, engage in an open innovation approach to problem solving. Okay, to the extent there is a challenge in managing for culture or making a shift within the new cultural dynamic with so many people working out of the home and recruiting and hiring and culture management being an issue that needs to be focused on, to the extent that diversity itself in your supply chain is a challenge, whatever the case is, we're here to be thought leaders, and we're here to be supportive, and taking an open innovation approach where you're bringing multiple people from different walks of life and different stakeholders to the table to help solve for those challenges, whether it's myself in my capacity as a member of the board of directors, or Juan in his capacity as CEO. We're here to work in a collaborative way to find mutually beneficial solutions for everyone else.